Hi, everybody. It's Simone with BallerAlert. I'm here, Mr. Cory Hardrict, to talk about his new film, Die Like a Man. How you doing today, sir?
Hi, Simone. How are you? Thanks for
I
having me.
am, yes, I'm well. I just watched the movie this morning. Great film.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. You ain't scared of me, are you? You ain't
No, but
scared of me.
I'm starting to think you're starting to play those roles well.
He said he's playing those roles too well. No, thank you so much. I had a great time shooting this movie, and I think it's going to do really well on streaming platforms. So I'm
Yeah,
excited about the
same, same.
responses and what people are going to say. So.
Right. So the film it takes place in West LA. How
Mhm.
important was it for you to portray the authenticity of the city, and how did you successfully capture the true essence of gang culture in West LA?
Wow. I mean, me growing up as a fan of all the LA movie stories in like the 90s, like The Boys in the Hoods and the Menace Society. So it kind of reminded me of those films, but more in like a slower pace, but it still had the vibe. And what I did was I went back and kind of watched a lot of those films after I read the script and was just like, how can I implement what I know and my instincts to this character? And I just threw myself in it, and my filmmaker Eric Nazarian, we drove around, we looked at the areas in Venice Beach, and because he grew up in those areas, that's kind of like how he got his story, what he got the story
Hmm.
from. And I was just like, man, I can't wait to just dive on in and see what I can come up with. So hopefully I make everybody happy with the performance. So
Yeah, I'm sure. So Die Like a Man. It's such a powerful title. What do you think what does it mean to you personally, and what do you hope it communicates to the audience?
well, it's a masculine film. It's a boy becomes a man, and doing things for approval of his peers, of me. You know what I'm saying? Like he looks up to me, which is I'm giving more like misguided information when he should be
Hmm.
looking up to his mother,
Hmm.
because she's telling him the right thing. Stay off the streets. You need to stay away from him. But it shows you the stubbornness of young men today. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Until they get into some trouble or until they get in something that they can't get out of. My thing is, I will want the youth to take from this film is number one, listen to your mom, surround yourself with a good group of people, and always know that you are loved, from like your friends and family. You don't need that outside validation from like the street life, because that only ends up two ways, like dead or jail, but that's what I would say. It's a message in there as well
Yeah.
to put the guns down. If you got to fight somebody and put your hands up, that's cool too. Everybody can walk away in peace and love and hug each other. We don't have to always resort to the gun violence. So I would say that
Yeah.
as well.
I said this earlier, but you play the character of Solo so well. And although he is the antagonist of this film, it almost seems like he's just like a product of, how he grew up, the environment. What do you hope people can take from his character?
Wow, what can they take from his character? Um, I would say that they could take just his he came home from jail and he came home rehabilitated, right? But I would say to take from him is just more of what not to become, I would say. Like, to be honest, like I'm just being honest. Like you
Mhm.
don't become this guy because like I told you, there's a path there where it ends up not good for you. But I can say that yeah, don't be solo. Don't be
Makes sense.
solo. But you can take the qualities of he had like that power though. He had like that
Hmm.
determination to get things done, and you can use that for positive in your life. You just got to turn it around and flip it around. But because he was
Yeah.
very, very powerful and he commanded like his space with people, they looked up to him.
Yeah, people
So
respected him.
people can respect you and look up to you for other ways. That's not negative, just for
Right.
positive. That's what I would say.
Right. So the scene with little Freddie and his mother's boyfriend, it was really powerful. It kind of gave us a rare, vulnerable moment between a man and a young man. It was almost like Freddie was looking at like himself in a few years. And it was a stark contrast from like the no weakness message that he's heard throughout the film. From your perspective as an executive producer, can you talk a little bit more about that scene and its importance?
With the mother and yeah, when they had that
The
scene
mother's
about
boyfriend and Freddie when they're in the room and he was
right
like talking.
when he was talking to him, again, he was giving him all the right, the right things about life, trying to not let him go down that path that he's foreseen. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I would say that that scene was very, very powerful, and Freddie had to come to that realization on his own of what was right. And he did, and finally he figured it out, like what he wants to do, and the love of his life in the film,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And that's when Solo had to, it came to an end
Yeah.
for me. But no, that scene was very, very powerful. It was very human, and it was very real. And those are,
Agree.
the tug of wars that young men go through, and just listen to someone who's trying to get them on the right path. And
Mm-hmm.
like I say, I think that was one of the best heartfelt scenes of the film, and it was raw and real and honest. So
Agree, agree. So it almost seems like Freddie's story isn't over just yet. Like we at the end we kind of hear him like writing a letter to his girlfriend from jail.
right.
Do you think there's more to Freddie's story we'll hear from, like a possibility of a sequel?
You know what? You have to ask the filmmaker Eric Nazari and that. I know Solo, he ain't around no more.
Yeah,
So,
so
but
he's
that would
Solo's
be
not around no
beautiful.
more.
Yeah, I'm sure there's ways to like expand his story because, like I say, he's his arc and his storyline was very, very captivating. So that's something you can definitely build off of. With
Hmm.
his storyline, with Luna, his girlfriend in the movie. So I would love to see that. I would love to see it.
Yes.
Think so. It's
Yeah.
possible.
All right. Well, that was my last question. I appreciate you guys' time.
Thank you. Thank you, Simone. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.